1, 2, 3, 4. Who for? What for? What are we singing for? Sound off. 1, 2. Sound off. 3, 4. Yes sir, no sir. Uncovered. Up. Sit down. Get up. Sit down. Right shoulder. Arms. Present. Arms.
This was the first day of training camp for Charles, December 27, 1952. These were all of the cadets and commands he had to listen to and go by. This story tells of a man with a dream to serve his country with passion and nothing to regret. Charles F. Gerberich was born on March 1, 1930. He grew up in Annville, Pennsylvania, with his mother and 4 siblings. He graduated from Lebanon High School and worked as a plumber before joining the Marine Corps. He currently lives in Myerstown, Pennsylvania, with his wife. He received notice in 1952 that he would be going into the Marine Corps. On December 27, 1952, he was shipped to Parris Island, which only has one road in. He was marched in a line to Parris Island and was told to undress, and all of his extra belongings were sent home in a bag. From there, he was sent into the barber shop, where his head was shaved. After that, he was fumigated and was thrown clothing to try on, and an officer said,
"If that fits, everything fits."
He received his barracks with 68 men and was assigned a bunk bed and a locker box. Once he was settled in and assigned, the training started. Charles first learned how to drink from a water fountain, which was 3 steps out of the squad bay room. He took 3 steps, did a left face, 1 step forward, pressed on the drinking fountain, and took a sip. When he did so, he forgot to press the drinking fountain and was beaten to the ground by the officers. He went to the dining hall for lunch, but before entering, they had to take off their hats at the same time. The next morning, he had to be ready at 5 o'clock, lined up outside the barracks. Gerberich then had to do the obstacle course, which at the end had an invisible string that pulled the rope out from under him, and he got in trouble and had to do it again. The next day, he received his M1 rifle and was taught how to use it. The first day, all he did was dry fire, which was firing the gun without ammo. After that, they had to qualify and score 190 for marksman. He had glasses and could barely see, but on the first shot, he qualified. After this, they graduated. Graduation was a very good day for everybody at Parris Island. They had the band playing, and he would perform with his fellow men by the reviewing stand. Mr. Gerberich graduated 15th in his class and earned his first PFC stripe and was assigned to Camp Lejeune. After being at Camp Lejeune for a while, he was assigned to the 2nd Marine Air Wing to check the missions that were going back to Korea. Finally, when he was about to go to Korea, President Truman stopped him because everyone had to have 6 months of training and he only had 5 months and 28 days. He was reassigned to Camp Lejeune, where he helped with drainage lines. On December 23, 1953, he was discharged from the Marine Corps. From there, he served 6 years in the reserve and received his honorable mention in 1959. Mr. Gerberich was very successful in his service. He received corporal after 9 months out of boot camp. He received a medal in marksmanship and got the National Defense Trade in Water Purification. Mr. Gerberich also served with Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox and Jerry Coleman, who was second base for the New York Yankees. He also told of some things that went on that not a lot of people knew about these days. If anyone wanted to do anything, they had to knock 3 times on the drill instructor's door. Mr. Gerberich recalled,
This one fellow went and rapped 3 times on the drill instructor's door, and the drill instructor hollered, "I can't hear you." And the kid said, "How do you know I'm out here if you can't hear me?" Well, he spent the whole night scrubbing down the shower room with a toothbrush.
When people dropped their rifle, they had to sleep with it with the bolt up, and there would be a night watch person to make sure you were on your rifle. When people dropped their rifle outside, you had to perform outside and walk up and down the pavement for 8 hours with the gun in position. If anyone had a dirty rifle, they had to clean everyone's rifle, and their shoes had to be spit shine so they couldn't see your face in them. I knew how to shine shoes, so the drill instructor let me do his and gave me an extra weekend pass, exclaimed Mr. Gerberich. There was also no such thing as getting sick in the Marines. If a Marine had a cold, they put up with it. You had to pass your swimming tests, and they almost drowned you to teach you how to swim," said Mr. Gerberich. "They taught you how to do everything in a military manner. It is very important to work as a team. They know when they get into battle they can't leave anyone behind," said Mr. Gerberich. "When everyone came out of the frozen chosen battle in Korea, they brought all their men with them. They didn't let any dead, they didn't let any wounded, so the Koreans could not get a hold of them," cried Mr. Gerberich. He knew of a man who had been captured and put in a cage and tortured with no food or water. Today he spends most of his time in the VA hospital and thinks everyone deserted him. He thinks his wife deserted him. He thinks his family deserted him. And he thinks God deserted him," cried Mr. Gerberich. There were also many conscientious objectors, men who thought they didn't need to carry a rifle and were challenged with Koreans who had rifles. "Men who stood guard with a broom to challenge a Korean with a rifle," said Mr. Gerberich. "As you know, the Marines are famous. They were the first in World War II to plant the American flag," cried Mr. Gerberich. "The Marines have taught us that when you want to get ahead, you study, and when you make a mistake, you pay for it." His last remark, "And I am proud to have been a United States Marine."